Okay, we are on air. And I'll apologize before we start. I have a bit of a cold, so I'm a little stuffy. So, good morning. I would like to welcome all members and guests to the January 31st, 2024 Police Services Board meeting. I will remind everyone that our meetings are web streamed. Please ensure that your phones are on silent mode. With that, I call the January 31st, 2024 Police Services Board meeting to order. Call to order. Are all members present today? And they are. Number 2, approval of agenda and changes to the agenda. Are there any? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? By Member Santos and seconder, Member Van Houten. All in favor? That's carried. Number 3, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, I will pass the Mrs. Board Chair and Vice Chair for 2024. That's you.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Through you, we will proceed with nominations for the position of Chair first. Your nominations need a mover and a seconder. So for the first time, I'll call for nominations from the floor for the position of Chair for 2024. Member Cruz?
I nominate Member Tim Huffman for Chair.
And is there a seconder for that? Oh, Councillor Van Dresche? I'll call for a second time for nominations from the floor for the position of Chair. And I'll call a third and final time for nominations for the position of Chair for the Police Services Board for 2024. And seeing no further nominations, I'm pleased to announce that Chair Kim Huffman is once again the Chair, acclaimed to the position of Chair for the Norfolk County Police Services Board for 2024.
Thank you very much. The competition was stiff here.
And the same for the position of Vice Chair. So I'll call a first time for nominations for the position of Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to nominate Linda Van Dresche, please.
Is there a seconder for that? And I'll call a second time for nominations for the position of Vice Chair. I'll call a third and final time for nominations from the floor for the position of Vice Chair for the Police Services Board for 2024. Seeing no further nominations, again, I'm pleased to announce that Member Linda Van Dresche is our Vice Chair for the Police Services Board for 2024. And with that, I'll gladly pass that chair back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, everybody. Confirmation of the minutes from the previous meetings. 5.1, Police Services Board minutes, November 29th, 2023. Are there any comments regarding those minutes? Okay. And 5.2, Police Services Board workshop minutes, December 13th, 2024. Is there anything to speak of from that workshop? Okay. Seeing no hands, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 29th, 2023 meeting and the December 13th, 2023 workshop as presented? Member Santos, a seconder. Member Van Dresche, all in favor? And that is carried. Presentations, there are no presentations today. And deputations, there are no deputations. Item 8 on our agenda is consent agenda. 8.1, operational statistics and highlights, November 2023, and 8.2, operational statistics and highlights, December 2023. And I will pass that over to our OPP members.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations. I guess starting through with going through the report will start in November, and we can just work through some of the highlighted items specific to noteworthy occurrences, and also just briefly touching on some crime trends and things that we're kind of aware of, as well as traffic as well. And if there's any questions, obviously, with November, we can then flow seamlessly into the December month as well to kind of touch on some of those items too. Basically for November, as far as number of cruiser patrol hours, we have 1,086.25, foot patrols 144.25. So again, with staffing and adjusting with staffing and prioritizing the detachment, looking at service delivery model, community engagement, and that the foot patrol hours are something personally that I'm keeping track of, that I'm kind of really monitoring. Yesterday we were out in, Staff Sergeant McNorgan and I were out in the community, and it was very nice to see some officers doing foot patrol downtown when we were driving by. So they are out and about, and we encourage that, and actually it is an expectation of ours as well. So I'm really kind of watching that number to see if we can't get that even higher. Working down through specific to noteworthy occurrences, I know there was reference in previous meetings about assault police and instances of assault police. So there was an instance here of assault police ×2, a resist arrest stemming from a family dispute. It was a very heated family dispute in that. So what I can share is in kind of pausing that, we were very cognizant of that and looking at, is this a trend? Is it trending up? Is it something we need to be aware of? Coincidentally, I got a meeting request from West Region headquarters from Superintendent Nash, who's chairing a assault police working group meeting for next Monday for detachment commanders. So I did send him an email. I just haven't heard back yet, just to get the context of it, to see what we're going to be talking about. But I will be participating in that, and hopefully having a lot more to share with everyone here specific to that. So it is kind of refreshing to see that everyone's aligned, that your observations are what I'm anticipating are even our West Region Command's observations as well too. So, and we can see, because it would be kind of nice to see if there's a real good corporate OPP approach to this as well, that we'll be able to share and work together on. Aside from that, as far as moving over to motor vehicle collisions, as far as property damage collisions of that nature, we have seen a decrease in November. There was also a decrease in non-fatal injury collisions as well. It appears that the collisions, one of the primary causes when they look at the causal effects, like why are these accidents happening, like what's the primary cause of it, they were able to identify through the officers' reports and that fail to yield right away seemed to be the number one reason for that too. So, which is kind of interesting. But again, too, we're probably looking at variances of very minute numbers here, like improper turn, speed too fast for conditions. They're all very impactful. As far as fatal collisions for November, there were 0. And also kind of moving through here, media releases, again, very, very pleased with Constable Gamble, with Andrew Gamble, and as we all know, coming into place and replacing Ed, and Ed was just he still is engaged. He came by yesterday just to drop in and say hi to everybody, and it's always nice seeing him. It was great seeing him at the Remembrance Day as well, marching with us. But Andrew has been doing a fantastic job. He's very, you can see he's dialed in. He really gets it, and he understands the importance of of that. And I think it's very reflective of his 119 media releases were disseminated to the public, and the OPP News portal, and using all the social media. He's very adept at all of that as well. Andrew also is very passionate about schools and young people, so he's kind of wearing several hats, so where he's really instrumental in promoting not only this wonderful community, but also our police service and the OPP, like Norfolk County OPP specifically. He's also very actively in the schools with the young people, and being just a great role model for that as well. I'll kind of touch on, after I get through this, I'll touch on other little highlighted items like the Preventing Auto Thefts grant that we did get, which is an absolutely exciting opportunity for our detachment and for this community. It's huge. And Andrew, I've had discussions with him already to make him aware that part of this will be a massive, massive media push as well, and huge interaction with the community for this to combat auto theft. It's a huge deal. It's a big grant, and a lot of resources will be put in place for this, which will only benefit the community too. Yeah, and public education campaigns. During November, approximately 60.25 hours. And again, that's everything from proactive school visits in Simcoe to cruiser patrols, participation in OPP Kids program at St. Michael's School, community presentations on Safeguard Ontario, fighting fraud, attendance at training seminars, etc. So, and again, too, we're this Preventing Auto Thefts grant will be very, very beneficial, is huge community educational programs as well. So there'll be a lot of engagement with the community. So Safeguard, very valuable, specific quite often to people that have been subject and victimized through break and enters and through thefts. It's just a wonderful program to kind of help restore that confidence and really take victimology and take that very serious and looking at that. The other part with the auto theft grant too is it's very real. It's something that's impacting all of us. I think everybody knows something, and it's very intrusive. You walk out and you think a brand new vehicle, you walk out to your driveway and it's gone. And obviously it's impacting the insurance companies, but it's really taking its toll on people. So I'm really looking forward to we'll be doing a lot of community educational pieces as well, where forums, town halls, people will be there. Free things will be given away, fairway bags, clubs, education, lots of literature on how to prevent and protect yourself from auto theft too. So it'll be, and when I say auto theft too, the farming community too, there's a lot of equipment going stolen as well. So that's all part and parcel with that too. So when I say auto theft, we're gonna use it for all that resources too. Moving forward too for November, Mobile Crisis Rapid Response Team, again too, right now we're still currently, we currently still have a full-time vacancy, and they are in the process of recruiting to fill that. So what I'm kind of doing is just kind of trying to maintain momentum on that, because it is kind of turning into a little bit of a lengthy process. I'd love to get that another person in there right away, because it's just such a massively positively impactful program. It's pretty amazing. It's one of those programs that I look at over the span of 26 years, and if we'd had something like that back even when I was starting it, it's pretty amazing what the MCERT workers do and the relationship they have with our officers even. It's very special. Street crime, still again, community street crime. It's always, I always hate saying, because it sounds like kind of a negative saying, they're having a very positive, lots of charges and lots of impact in that, because it's kind of that catch-22 a little bit, but at the same time, they're able to go out there and get in there and really dig in and deep and through search warrants and through working with the community, but also working with kind of that other side to get to the crux of drug problems and property crimes, and they will be working jointly with our auto theft unit too. So this new introduction, they'll kind of work part and parcel together. Other than that, mental health occurrences, again, pretty consistent. Domestic occurrences as well. We're still maintaining momentum with focus patrols, and again, just specific to areas as they're identified in the detachment area, whether it's traffic or even if we're becoming aware, organizationally, there's some locations that politically are sensitive, so they're asking local detachment areas to make sure that those areas are covered off and safe too. So it's just public safety, like basically just making sure we're covering off on that. As far as operational, there is a note in here about staffing and vacancies and that. I know I can speak, like Staff Sergeant McNorgan and I, even with Region, have been very aggressive with addressing staffing, and I hate to say that, but it is pretty consistent across the board. Everyone's kind of challenged right now with that. However, the way I look at it is my job is to be an advocate and a champion for the detachment and for our members, and to be that's my job, is to be aggressive and trying to pursue and get new recruits and getting new people to come here. So we do have some lateral transfers coming in, which is good. We have, I think, 3 coming in. We have next Friday, I'm going to be going to Aurelia for the recruit grad, because we're going to be having 2 new recruits next week. 3 more recruits are coming in May of 2024. And very excitingly, we found out that, and again, this was a lot of pressure. Joe's he's looking at me. But we could be looking at getting potentially 7 in August. So it's one of those, a village raises a child kind of thing. So we're already obviously 12 new recruits coming in that short a period of time. It does impact a detachment with coach officers and having people to train them effectively. But again, we will never ever say no to when they're proposing more people to come with that, and we'll find a way. And we have incredible people at detachment and a lot of leaders, a lot of future leaders that I fully expect and anticipate they'll all step up and make sure that we're carried through. But that's very exciting. We're slowly getting there. Yeah. The only, and I guess moving through here too, so as far as notable increases as far as in the crime report, and these are just little items that I've flagged, just kind of items of interest to share. I think I'd mentioned it at a previous meeting there about sexual assaults, that I'd kind of noticed an increase myself, like in notifications, and it just made me kind of dig in a little deeper. And we had just before, I guess it would have been a couple weeks ago, we had our syndicate meeting with our OPP partners, and we brought in the regional crime operations manager. She came in, and I'd asked previously about sexual assaults, and she did confirm that in Norfolk County that there is an increase, that this is accurate, that they are seeing an increase here. Again, it becomes almost that paradigm, or that how do you explain that? And there's many different theories or philosophies of the way you can look at it. It can be, yes, there are more sexual assaults, or it could be a case of way more increased education, way more support for victims, way more huge influence on that, so people feel more comfortable in coming forward, therefore vis-a-vis a higher number. Yeah. So in saying that though, like being reflective of that, I always kind of take the other side that, well, maybe there is an increase. We can't just kind of rest on our laurels there. So Shauna, Constable Polton, who our community mobilization officer, I did action her as well to whatever we can do. Like we're partnering with everybody, and if it's something as simple as reach out to the school boards, reach out to public health, make them aware that we have noticed this increase, and maybe they can kind of adjust their programs and their education within their local areas too, and just see what happens, and just hopefully anticipate that will have a bit of an impact too. So. Yeah, and as far as for November, again for the motor vehicle collision report, there wasn't anything really noticeable or anything really that jumped out. There are decreases for property damage, decreases for non-fatal injury, and 0 fatals in November. So I can answer any questions if anyone has anything for November, if that's.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Inspector Tate. I have Member Santos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Chief Tate, you've hit on a number of highlighted areas, and we'll start first with the noteworthy occurrences on page 14 of our agenda. First and foremost, I just want to ask, how are the officers, both officers, doing since this episode? How are they doing?
They're doing well. They're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're back to work, everything's...
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yep, they didn't miss any time, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
The second point I wanted to also bring up was on page 17, Chief Kate. So if I may, Chair Huffman, I just want to focus here on the Mobile Crisis Rapid Response Team. I mean, I'm looking at these numbers, and diversion from hospital, 94%. I mean, that's a high number. So, I mean, this is a vital component, not only for our community, but for the police. And when we're diverting people from the hospital, and it works so well, I'm just wondering if we can, I mean, this full-time vacancy, if there could be a priority put on this, because, I mean, I know that the officers require this, because, I mean, there's a lot of mental health issues. And I'm not just saying in Simcoe, I'm speaking of Norfolk County, and I've seen this unit work well with the officers and with the individuals that are having a crisis. But to see the diversion from hospital it's amazing. It's you know, I mean, when I look at this, I'm dumbfounded by the amount of calls, first of all, and second of all, looking at the request for services, but just that diversion of 94% is incredible. So you mentioned that, and I had that written down. Now, to go on to the Community Street Crime Unit, I myself, and I think the board here, will definitely say that when looking at 5 warrants in 1 month and with 44 occurrences, it's a big difference, and they're making a difference. So while we're sleeping and they're out protecting our streets, I want to say thank you on behalf of the Norfolk Police Services Board to these officers, and I know it's a unit that works with Haldeman, if I'm not mistaken, so it's a Haldeman Norfolk unit, crime unit. And then to bring in the auto theft, I think works well. I mean, it will be a great team that can deal with a number of issues here. And I also noted that in December that as were fairly high, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was $76,000 that were brought in from thefts, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what I have here.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, so it's a great positive. So, Chief, I mean, being that you're the chief of our detachment, if you can relay that to the crime unit and let them know that we see the numbers. I don't know who they are, but I can just say that, let them know that we're very impressed. So that 4 or 5, and is this surrounding also for Oxford, Brant, and Haldeman also? Because I know with borderless policing, usually we share our officers. Is this continuous?
Each detachment, they do maintain their own staffing levels, so like their frontline availability and vacancies. So vacancies can be from all sorts of reasons. They can be somebody who's transferred out, or it could be through WSI, or it could be LTIP, or it could be people that are away from the workplace. People that are on maternity or paternity leaves, like all of those kind of things as well. So every detachment, I would say for the most part, there might be a few anomalies, but I'd say most do at any given time have some vacancies. Some it might be 2, some it might be 12. So it really kind of fluxes a little bit. We right now, we're kind of in the middle ground a little bit as far as vacancies. And I think too, it's one of those things where a challenge for us is making Norfolk home for people and really having officers attracted to stay and to stay in an area and to make it their home and past that 2-year mandatory period of time that they have to commit to actually stay. And little things that we're doing, even to address the vacancies to make things look even a little better at home, is even the detachment. So we've actually enhanced our, the detachment gym. So, it's not the detachment gym anymore. We've moved it to a larger room, a bigger space, and it's our wellness center. And we are going to be doing a launch, like a big kind of launch for that to really promote that. I anticipate on the agenda in the very near future at an upcoming meeting, we're going to have Provincial Constable Bob Bolton come and share with me and do a presentation on the benefits of wellness, for member wellness, for the health of members physically and psychologically, the benefits of fitness and wellness, and that to just to kind of show the impacts and the importance of what we need to be able to move forward with that. This wellness center too, yes, it'll have gym equipment for fitness, but we're also going to have options for members too. And I guess what I'm getting at in kind of a long-about way with this is to make this kind of something extremely special that people look at and go, you know what, I'm not from Norfolk. I was hired by the OPP, I got sent here, and I've been here for 2 years, and you know what? This is a pretty nice, this is a good go. I really enjoy this, and I like this, and I want to stay. And hopefully we can kind of get those vacancies in whatever we can do to try to bring those numbers down a little bit.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And I believe Member Cruz.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. I loved reading about the street crime unit digging in and doing the search warrants. I love hearing that, making the arrest and just doing that. That was great to hear. Love seeing that, love reading it too. Also about your promoting your staffing in Norfolk County here, and you said you were being a little aggressive. Good. That we like to see that, and I like to see that, and you're reaching out, advocating for staff, and yourself. You just said staff love hearing that too, and you get a lot of feedback and a lot of respect for doing that. And hey, if officers want to stay and work out of Norfolk, wonderful. We love that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. And part of that too is. I'm really stressing, and with Staff Sergeant McNorgan, we're really putting it to our members, to everybody, and saying, each and every one of you are your own recruitment ambassadors. So, don't wait for OPP recruitment at GHQ to decide who's going to come to Norfolk or what. I said, you all should be actively working your little webs and knowing people at other detachments and really selling the detachment. And and really showing what an absolutely special detachment it is, and what an absolutely special, amazing community this is to be a part of. And I think we can do a little better sharing and showcasing that to even current members to attract.
Love hearing it. Thanks, Inspector.
And Member Van den Riche.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of questions. Looks like everything's going along tickety-boo. Unfortunately, in the police service, it's the way it goes. A couple of questions, though. With the foot patrol, where do you tend to have the foot patrol? I can understand Simcoe because it's a large area. Where else is the foot patrol active?
I would say, like, from what I've seen, I'd say primarily, like, obviously, I think the largest component of it would be in Simcoe, would be like in the town. And I think just basically that's driven by population, by the footprint of the downtown, the need, some of the identified issues that have been brought to our attention, where visibility would be more impactful in the town of Simcoe right now. Not saying that, you know, officers walking, just stretching their legs in Waterford or, you know, Port Dover or wherever wouldn't benefit as well. And I do know that they are doing that as well. Like, you know, obviously all locations really encouraging that. I also think too, even with the stats to work, that we, almost like a time card, except it's electronic and you put in everything that you did for that day.
Right.
There's a lot of codes for the officers to input, and I think a lot of the time it's making sure that the correct codes are being used and that to get the best and most accurate data. So for us, a lot of it is trying to, and this is one of our priorities moving forward with the service delivery model that the OPP is having as well, is to show community engagement and, you know, again, you know, foot patrols and being out there, going to the arena, walking into a store, watching a sporting event or watching a community event, that they are using the proper DAR code to actually capture that to show the correct numbers.
Right, so at the end of the day, you would have statistics. We've had the type of the same program when you're in an office. Sometimes you have to calculate each thing that you've done.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. It kind of tells us that. But since we have such a vast area, okay, and then I'm looking at the crews, and you're right, a police officer's in his car, his vehicle, he could stop at a town, pop his head in the arena. Excellent idea, excellent idea. There's a lot of people there, so they see you and they just take a walk about and whatever. We have such a vast area. How do you statistically record, say, for instance, we have, you know, we go all the way to Tillsonburg, we go all the way down 19. Are we going there? Like patrol-wise, are we going there? Can people say to me, oh, I saw a cruiser go by?
Yes, we are,
Okay.
and I guess, and that's the shortest of it, and even a lot of the altruistic and altruistic like things of our officers, a lot of it even goes unnoticed. So,
Right.
Even right now, as we're sitting here now, we may be completely unaware that, you know, officers are out of their car playing road hockey with kids or
Yeah.
helping, you know, an elderly citizen up Upper Walkway right now, and they're doing that all the time.
Right.
Like always interacting, doing stuff, and they just do it.
Yeah.
We're not telling them to do it. It's just being kind people.
But where I want to go with that is, are you actually recording so that you have a recording of that they're hitting the whole of Norfolk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we
It's
do.
it's just
Yeah.
that I get calls, constantly get calls from people down at the far west end,
Right.
and they haven't seen a police cruiser, they're telling me. So if you're telling me that they get out and about around I mean, we're so close to Tillsburg, I understand that. But, you know, Cortland, over down to Norfolk, all that area, and the 19 over to Eden, it's quite a vast area, so that's important. The other question I have is I take a look at page 19, and I don't know if I should be concerned or not, but when I see something of a change of 200% in arson, are you concerned about that, or is this a one-off, or is this something that we should be keeping our eye on? Is it a trend? Like I see in arsons, in 2002, we had only 2, and in 2023, we've had 6.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just confirming with Staff McNorgan there. There's no public safety concern with that.
Okay,
Without getting into the specifics of the criminal investigation, it was very similar individuals involved within.
Okay, so
more
it's
of
not something,
It was very isolated. It was a
yeah,
very
we
isolated number.
haven't got
Yeah.
problems out there sort of
No.
thing. We just know where it's coming from, and we know we're keeping an eye on it, and just
That's correct.
happens to skew the numbers. When you put 6, it goes 200% up, right?
That's
So
correct. Very
that's it.
isolated and an ongoing investigation
Okay.
even right now.
And likewise, the break-ins and the trespassing, are we finding that occurring more? I see this as a rule 1 on page 14. And as an individual living in the country, I find we're starting to lock things up more. We're starting to see there's people stopping and walking about, and you know what I mean? And I think that's something education-wise, that people should be reminded that to call it in if you have somebody walking about at the back of the buildings or whatever, like, you know what I mean? That does concern me, being a rural population, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a huge part of that too is, again, is public awareness and education. Lock it or lose it is a huge program. Even our auxiliary unit, like we're always trying to be resourceful, so trying to use whatever resources we have to try to get out there the best we can. So I know our auxiliary program, one of the priorities we also have as well is trying to beef up that program and trying to get some more auxiliary, which are very instrumental with safeguard and following up with people, just to educate them.
Well, great job. I like the report. Good job.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, I don't see any other hands. I just wanted to say a few comments. Mostly everything has been covered, but I do want to say that it's nice in regards to the auto theft grant. I noticed this week in the news, the federal government has started an auto theft task force, for lack of a better word, and that this is a worldwide problem, and it leads to it's organized crime, and it's quite an issue. So I'm glad to see that we're kind of on the cusp of that, and I know that thefts in Norfolk and have been an issue for a while. And like you said, and I'm glad you mentioned the farm equipment as well. I'm very pleased to hear about the new recruits, and I was thinking, while you were speaking about that it might be worthwhile to touch base with our tourism and economic development department and get some information and some, if there's any swag or anything like that, just to kind of give new recruits and people new to the Norfolk detachment an idea of some of the cool stuff that we have in our area. And so that might be that's just kind of off the top of my head.
That's
So,
a brilliant idea.
okay.
I love that. Yeah.
And I'm pleased to hear about the wellness center. I think officers' mental health is a great way to go. So I'm very pleased with that, and hopefully some of these changes will result in these new recruits staying 24/7. And I do want to add just to Member Vanden Riche's comment in terms of people walking about and people seeing things. I am forever seeing posts on Facebook about suspicious activity. Please, individuals, please call 1-888-310-1122. Don't waste your time posting it on Facebook. Please call the non-emergency number and let the OPP deal with these issues. So that's my PSA for the day. Now, were you going to go over December as well, or?
I can if
Okay.
If everyone would like that.
Yeah,
Or-
I
or
think
if
I think
there-
it's great.
Okay, perfect.
I like it.
Perfect. And you know what, too? There aren't, again, I just made some noteworthy comments just for me, things that kind of jumped out at me to kind of discuss about. And again, too, the 1-888 number to call and report crime. The other service that I would kind of piggybacking on, you know, your wonderful comments and recommendations there is Crime Stoppers is obviously a hugely valuable program that is extremely beneficial to the police. I can't say enough of that. And it also kind of goes hand in hand with this, our Norfolk County Detachment Preventing Auto Thefts unit, this new unit. And I think I can probably just go into that a little bit because it is something, it's kind of exciting for me. And I just think it's going to be amazing for everybody. It's for West Region, so with the Ontario Provincial Police for West Region, only Perth County and Norfolk County are the only two detachments that wrote for this grant and that actually got it. So, again, for the record, you know, Provincial Constable Polton, Shauna was the one that wrote the grant and was successful in getting that. So, I don't even know what to say because of her efforts. This is going to be a massively, massively impactful substance and something for us for the next few years. So it goes till 2026. The grant money allows for, and it's a wonderful partnership again with the community here and with the funds, and you know we're kind of working through that process there. But it allows us to create, and this is an amazing opportunity for the OPP as well, is creating a unit. So we're actually physically creating a unit to look specifically at auto theft. Elgin, Brant, Haldeman, Southern Georgian Bay, I can go on and on. They do not have this opportunity. We do. And so this unit, we already have an officer identified. We've sped him into it. He started on Monday. Provincial Constable Ben Brett. He's a local fella. He lives locally as well, and with a very heightened skill set that is very aggressive, and he's just chomping at the bit. He's ready to go with this. We also have established many partners with Equite, which is the insurance, part of the insurance board, all sorts of programming. In the very near future, probably in the month of February, there will be a huge launch where we will, at Norfolk County Detachment, will do our official big push out to the community. We'll have the mayor, we'll have everybody, our MPP, we'll have everyone there. The police service board, obviously, invited to be there for this big push out and big launch of that. We're going to have lots of handouts. There'll be fairway bags. Like I said, there's going to be kind of the big pillars of this grant will be heightened analytics, analytical support, and for enforcement. It's going to be huge. It's going to make a big difference in what we're going to be able to do. We're also going to be able to use our existing resources with officers to have pay duties created based with the grant, to have more officers out into certain areas, targeting certain areas. And that's so the safety component, people will see a larger visual presentation of officers at different areas. The enforcement side, but then there's also the huge education side. So the grant speaks to Ben Brett, so one officer in year one. With April 1st, we'll have a second officer come into the unit on April 1st. So there'll be two officers focused with this. They're going to be aligned doing auto theft, but they'll be under kind of the supervisory arm of our street crime unit, which is kind of makes sense. They're kind of they're a little bit interwoven there. But again, it's going to be huge. So part of this community engagement part will be massive presentations to the community, training, you name it. The officers will also be training our own officers. So Ben and this other, to be a determined officer, will be going on they will be, for all intents and purposes, subject matter experts in anything and everything to do with auto theft. Anybody out there who is in this business doing auto theft right now, should be extremely, extremely concerned right now. Because, and I want that for the record, because there's going to be massive media push. It's going to be all over media constantly about what we're doing. We're tracking everything, and it's going to be very aggressive. With the community too, not only is there going to be lots of interaction to make people feel safe and just be better equipped in how to protect themselves with that. Like I said, there's the huge training component for our own officers. So because of this benefit from this, just a regular officer in Norfolk, and I'm also expecting these officers in part of this this auto theft unit to expand into neighboring detachment areas. They'll have partnerships and connectivity with Toronto Police, Hamilton Police, all their knowledge and everything to all these frontline officers and to everybody too. So again, you can see it's a sizable, positive little bomb being dropped with very, very positive shock waves that are going to go out to impact everyone. So it's very exciting.
Member Cruz, I believe you've got a question.
Thank you, Chair. No, just a comment. This grant is huge. I see it growing and growing and making Norfolk County OPP being the focus of good things. Our thanks through you, Inspector, to Officer Polton for having the successful grant, and looking forward to big things here for the unit and for the expansion too of the investigations and all that kind of stuff. Good job.
Thank you.
Great comments, thank you. Now, was there more for December? I don't want to put you on the spot here and
Oh,
just,
no,
if
no.
you have anything else, or does anybody have any questions regarding the December stats? Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To our chief, I'll bring everyone to page 27. It's more of a comment under noteworthy occurrences. It is the third point here, and I know that everyone, I don't know if everyone remembers, but just 2 days before Christmas, there was a fatal, failed to remain, and we can see that with regards to the occurrence. I just wanted to let the police know the great work they did within those 2 to 3 days, and how they worked with the community and with the media. They cultivated it, and within, I believe, 2 to 3 days, the gentleman was charged accordingly, and we had a successful opportunity to see that you've got the public working with the police and the police with the public, either via the 911 or Crime Stoppers, but it came together. That, to me, is definitely something that we should allow the police to know to their officers. Chief, if you may, because I mean, it was a tough time. It's always a tough time when there's a fatal, a young adult out in the country, and within 2 to 3 days, the police work just came together. And again, it just goes to show where, and it goes back to Sir, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Sir Peel. If people are the public and the public are the police, and it works hand in hand, and here we are again. So just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Police Services Board and to the officers and to the detachment. So I want to bring that to the attention of the board. And also, there was one other point, if I may, Madam Chair, to the chief and to the board. On page 28, over the last year, there have been 656 ride events. That is a big number. I did the math here, and I mean, that's 212 more events than we had in the previous year. And I just wanted Chief and Staff Sergeant McNorgan to also let those officers that are out at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 8 in the morning, keeping our streets safe, a special thank you. The numbers are lower than they were, which is a good sign. For me, the numbers are still too high. 1 is too much, and I mean, 118 is way out of my comfort zone, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. For myself, I just wanted to say thank you, and I do believe that the ride events are thanks to, I believe it was a grant that was given out by the Solicitor General's office, and I believe the OPP locally applied for that, and it was granted. So that's allowed us to do what we have done, and I believe that grant is going to end at the end of February or the beginning of March. So I just wanted to say thank you. I mean, for the last 35 years, I've been an individual that does not believe in drinking and driving, both drugs and alcohol. And the message just doesn't seem to be sinking in to the locals and to a number of individuals. But I'm glad that we have the police on our side and that the ride program's working and working fairly well. And again, 656 ride events, just so everyone knows, that's a lot. And throughout the year, to me, that just reinforces the ability to educate, but also to let them know that at any time, the police are out there. This isn't a specific 9 to 5. This is any time. So, Chief, thank you once again. And that's all the questions I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Inspector Tate, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Sorry, your indulgence. A second.
No worries. Member Santos?
Chair Huffman, if I could just ask a question of the Chief.
Yes.
Now, I know we don't have the stats for January of 2024, but I'm very troubled by just what I've read in the paper, that so far this month we've had 3 fatalities, and we've had 4 air oranges in Norfolk County. The concern that I have is we're just starting out the year. What's going on? Do we know what's happening here? Because if we're starting the year with 3 fatalities and 4 air oranges, my fear is what does February or March have in store? Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess in answer to that, it's so hard to predict. You know, I almost equate it to, I remember even in Central Region when I was there, Airport Road, very, very busy road. And I know the Central Region Time Team, which is like the traffic unit, they had, I think, 6 officers on that road, and they were all day, and they were writing just tickets. Like they were just, I can't remember the number of charges. Like it was astronomical, like huge number of speeding or number of stunt driving, like vehicles being towed, and huge. They left, so they finished their targeted deployment there, left at about, say, 6 o'clock, drove away, and literally within half an hour, I was in a meeting at the time and I heard it, within half an hour there was a fatal motor vehicle collision on Airport Road. And you just feel that proverbial, like the air just going out, like just, oh my goodness, like we're just targeting this all day for this, and then this happens. And it's one of those things where it's so hard to predict. You know, we're trying to position ourselves, you know, through RIDE, through in other capacities, through active enforcement measures as well, and trying to reduce that. And again, it has impact. A lot is chance as well. Sometimes, you know, we may have 2 or 3 in January, and that could potentially be it for the year. You know, or it could be a little bit higher this year. I know even watching neighboring detachments, it just seems to kind of circle around. You know, some detachments, you're sitting there, even through our provincial operations center notifications that we get, there's oftentimes I'm looking at other detachments and I'm going, you know, kind of flinching and going, oh boy, like this is again, like another one. But then it eases up, and then it seems like another area is impacted. It just seems to kind of the flow. And again, to hopefully, with the injection of officers and that too, we can still not just say, well, it's chance and throw our hands up in the air. We never want to do that. We always want to, again, do whatever we can to try to deal with that and try to bring it down. And again, a lot of that will be through educational pieces as well.
And unfortunately, with the vastness of Norfolk County, we do have a lot of roads, and we need to drive pretty much everywhere to access services, so it does put a risk out for individuals in Norfolk County. So hopefully those fatalities will end, and we'll have, the rest of the year will be eventless. Thank you. And now, is there anything else that you would like to mention, or would you like us to move on?
No, I'm good, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Okay, so may I have a motion to receive consent items 8.1 and 8.2 as information? Member Santos, a seconder. Member Van Houten, all in favor? And that motion is carried. Reports deferred from the previous meeting, we have none. Items for